Welcome back to Start of Play Football with myself, Theo, and Kojo. What are you saying? What are you telling me?
Yeah, all good, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. You wearing that shirt for a reason, or you just?
I've started a collection. I've started a collection of shirts, and the only
Okay.
shirts, the only two teams that I'd never wear their actually I said three teams I never wear their shirts are Liverpool, City, and Millwall. Never Millwall. Never ever
You
ever.
wear Chelsea top, yeah?
If that can mean you work with your club, so I've already worn it. So at this point, I might as well just say it is what it is.
He's one of them.
And in Arsenal, that's where I started my coaching journey. So I had to disgracefully wear their stuff as well. So yeah, even Basil will know. I bought when I started
It's not a
working there. I got my
disgrace. It's
cousin
not a
an Arsenal
disgrace,
top.
mate. It's an honor.
It's not an honor. It's not an honor, man.
Oh, crazy, man. For the audio listeners, Basil's just joined us as well. What are you saying, Basil? You good? All good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
You haven't missed much. I was just wondering why Kojo's got a Fulham top on. That's all. I thought he changed allegiance because he knows he's gonna get.
Well, it would have made sense, to be honest, considering how his team is performing.
I was about to say the dismantling might happen on Saturday 5:30 from Chelsea. So
If I'm leaving Man United, I want to go and support a team led by Raul Jimenez. Guys, that's not man.
listen, man, the Fulham's all right, man. They'll have Sterling there in a couple of months. They'll have Sterling and maybe Tariq George. You might have some people over there you can support. But yeah, got a jam-packed episode as always. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you're doing all that good stuff. My co-hosts are now in charge of the socials, so they tell me. So if you don't see them putting things on the socials, it's these lot you gotta. It's these lot you gotta come to, not me. So check out the socials. I'm sure there'll be stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks or so on there. Make sure you subscribe and follow and all that good stuff on there. But let's start with last night's game. Obviously, the Champions League returned. There's a particular game I want to talk about and a particular player I want to talk about. Marcus Rashford.
He's in Spain now, says
Marcos, I turned him into a Spaniard. No, I want to talk about because I think so he's obviously had a difficult time between United, going to Aston Villa, looking to try and get a move away again from Manchester United, and he didn't have the best of starts in terms of impacts to games for Barcelona so far. But to score the goals that he scored yesterday, and then again, this is against Newcastle, 2-0 win in the Champions League for Barcelona, he looked good, Basil. He looked like a very good player. It looked like he almost enjoyed returning to an English ground and showing English fans and English media what he can actually do. What's your thoughts?
I don't know what my thoughts are. I don't like. It's a typical Rashford performance. I mean, in terms of my opinion on Rashford doesn't change from that game, and the reason why I'm saying is the biggest issue we've had with Rashford from a footballing perspective, put aside everything that happens outside of football and what the media do, is consistency. And that's has been his Achilles heel, is the consistency. We know Rashford has the ability to put in those performances. Is can you do it on a week by week basis? And that's always been the issue. The issue with Rashford is that it becomes bigger because of all the outside stuff the media do. So what we do is it becomes his narrative on the football pitch becomes a lot more bigger or a lot spoken about a lot more than it should because of all the narrative that the media paints about him. So what happens is that the discussion never sticks to football because if it sticks to football, then I'm sorry to say, as harsh as this may sound, a lot of his performances over his career has been average if you take it as a whole. But because of the narrative, it's either one way or the other. It's either people take it too far in terms of Rashford is not good, he's rubbish, or people take it at the extreme end where, oh, you see, he's world class, he's this and that. I think if I was to rate Rashford's career over the lifespan of his career so far, it's been a 6 out of 10 on a personal level.
That's fair. That's fair.
I would say this: both goals yesterday, exceptional goals, especially the header. The header was a brilliant header, and obviously the strike is a brilliant strike. He can do that. It's just how frequently he does that, and that's where it's been my frustrations with Rashford. Because I think when he first burst into the scene at United, he looked an incredible talent. And then you can kind of give him leeway after that because he was in his development years, and then also once he reached mid-20s, because I think he's about 27 now, it stagnated. But it depends. Let's see what he does now for the next 5-6 games under Barcelona, because you hit the nail on the head, Theo. It hasn't been the most positive of starts with Barcelona. There have been a bit of murmurings regarding his performances. It's just where we can use this as inspiration to kind of push on while he gets opportunities there.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's. I agree with you to an extent that his performances have always been inconsistent and they haven't always been the best. But I think sometimes when you're in a club that so I think personally, I think going to Barcelona is probably going to benefit him more so than it did him going to Aston Villa, because I think as much as we know the Spanish media can be mad, like we know they can be crazy as well. But I think, again, something you just said, that, the media always prioritize and focus on things that are non-football related when it comes to Rashford in this country. But I think if he's doing things like that over in Spain in La Liga and in the Champions League, and we're talking about his football, whether it's good or bad, whether he's playing really good or he's playing really bad, as long as we're talking about his football, I don't think there can't be any issues from anyone. I think it's when we start talking about what car is he driving and what party is he going to and what's he doing with this woman and that one, and that's when I think actually why we bothered. Why do we care what he's doing off the field? If he's playing badly on the field, let's critique that and say actually, he didn't have the best performance. But if he's playing well, and the header was brilliant last night. I thought, credit to Newcastle. Newcastle tried to play the way that a lot of teams should play against teams like Barcelona and just took it to them and whatever else. But I don't know, man. It was crazy. But Koja, what do you think? What do you think about Rashford? What do you think about Barcelona's performance as well? Because we have to credit Newcastle. They played well, but Barcelona grew into the game and were able to take their chances.
Well, the thing about Rashford is, I say about any player, especially any player that's been at United for the last 10 years. Me personally, I can't expect consistency from a player when he's in an inconsistent environment. That's different managers, different coaches, different this, different that. It's always changed in United since 2014. So when he came in, even the manager that blooded him was changed within a year. You know what I mean? Like, from there, it's been chop and change, and there's always been different people around him, different philosophies. But he played really well yesterday. He was attacking at every moment. When he got the ball, it looked like he was trying to make something happen. 2 very good goals, in fact, great goals. I'll give credit where credit's due. So I'm hoping in an environment at Barcelona where hopefully he has some level of consistency around him for the season. He knows what his role is and what his purpose is on the pitch. I think you find that from him. At United, he was either a striker or a winger, then he was a winger, then a striker. Different expectations from different managers, what was required. So I'm just hoping he can do that. With Barcelona, the one thing that really impressed me about them was, obviously Newcastle started electric. They really wanted to get the early goal. They wanted to press high. They created a few chances that they probably should have done better in. But Barcelona managed to just get control and just slow everything down and quieten the crowds and bring down the energy of the players from Newcastle. And then from there, they were in control. And then once they got their first goal, they took the whole wind out of Newcastle. And when they were trying to build it back up, that's when Rashford scored his wonder goal to make it 2-0 and completely kill the game off. So even though they pulled one back, you didn't see that going back into a 2-2 situation. So that was the most impressive thing for me. And that's a team that has matured even more from last season. You can see that they last season had a couple of games where they got a bit too caught up in the emotion, and then they lost. Whereas this year, well, it's only September, so I'm not get too ahead of myself. But this game is kind of game where you want to calm down the Newcastle fans, calm down the players who feel like they've got something to prove after the whole summer that Newcastle have had. They want to prove something. So very, very professional performance. What I will say though, what did baffle me was why they didn't start Walter Marday in the number 9 position. I found that completely baffling, because how many times or how much evidence do you need to see that Gordon as a number 9, as a false 9, as a makeshift 9? Just doesn't work, especially when you're playing a team in the Champions League that has experience of winning it, and last season got to the semi-final and had a very great run. You got a number 9 there who's 6'5", and you play great players that can whip balls in. You play physical presences like Joe Linton and Tonali, Dan Burn, and you put Gordon up front as a number 9. It was just really baffling to me. But yeah,
it was interesting because I think there was a chance in the first half. I think Gordon should take that. I think there's one where Harvey Barnes should take it as well. And you think if you've got an out-and-out striker, someone who's just clinical or is a bit more suited in front of goal, I think they scored both of them. And I think you're talking about a completely different game
Yeah.
where Barcelona have to come out fighting a little bit more. They can't potentially slow the game down, as you said. It baffled me as well. He enjoyed his substitution though. He sat there, he had 2 drinks, he had a banana, he was chilling, man. He was like he was in the VIP. He thought he was in the posh seats. It was funny. But no, I agree. He should have definitely come on. I want to talk very quickly as well, Basil, about Pedri, who I thought ran the show for Barcelona in the midfield. He's one of them midfielders that just make things look, anything's easy. The pass is always on. He makes the move, makes the space, receives the ball, makes the pass. It's basic stuff, but and sometimes basic stuff is just so effective.
I wouldn't even say big. For me, he puts a lot of modern day midfielders to shame.
Yeah.
And I see it from so many midfielders in terms of he shows for the ball. He moves into every space of the pitch to receive the ball. Whether you're going to press him, he knows what to do with the ball before you press him. Like, he's very press resistant. And my issue I have with a lot of modern midfielders, which is where he puts them to show, a lot of them are cowards. They don't show for the ball. And I used to complain about Arsenal. We had Xhaka was another one. Will never show for the ball. The only time he wants the ball is when he has 5-6 yards of space with him. Let's have one too. I know I'm right now. And these people can't. They never show. They're always running away from the ball and only want it once the hard work is done by other players. Like, oh, I'm in space now. Give me the ball. Whereas when you look at Pedri, he's ball hunting. Give me the ball. Oh, there's a guy behind me. Give me the ball. I'll do something with the ball. He's always then moving into the space to move the ball. So never do you see Pedri kind of pass the ball and then just stand and doesn't show. He's passing the ball and then moving into the next space to receive it again. He's saying, give me the ball, let things come through me. And I love the way that he dictates the game in terms of he can slow it down, he can speed it up. You remind me about Xavi. Xavi used to play the game at his tempo. If I want to slow it down, I'll slow it down. If I want to speed it up, I'll speed it up. Pedri plays exactly... He's a different player to Xavi, but has that same trait in terms of he takes the pace as to which the game is going to flow. And for me, it's just an exceptional midfielder. Can use both feet, picks up the pass, very good on the ball, very press resistant if you're going to press him to your detriment sometimes. And he just knows what he wants to do with the ball for the majority of the time. And for me, like I said, he's just an exceptional midfielder that Barcelona have.
He's very, very good talent, top talent. One that I'm sure Barcelona need to try and keep hold of for this season and the next season after that. But before we move on for the Champions League, Kojo, Jose Mourinho appointed Benfica back after 25 years. I think he originally started at Benfica many years ago. His next Champions League game, 30th of September, is against Chelsea. How do you think they'll fare Benfica? Because Karabag beat them 3-2 on Tuesday evening in the Champions League after I think being 2-0 up, if I remember correctly. Kojo, how do you think, first of all, the appointment, does it make sense? And second of all, how do you think that game in a couple of weeks' time on the 30th of September will go for Benfica Chelsea?
But firstly, to be fair, I always thought at some point he'll go back to Portugal, but I thought that would be on the national side. I didn't think it'll be club level. So it is interesting. And he was obviously majorly successful with the big rivals Porto as well. So it's an interesting appointment. But obviously time has passed. I don't think there'll be any hatred towards that. And I'm a fan of Mourinho regardless. I know he's not the same Mourinho we had over the years, but I love the guy and his character. As for Benfica Chelsea, I still think he beat them anyway. If you see how they've
they're a good side though.
They are a good side, but I think you're also a very good side. I think you're better side, and it's not about just doing it on paper. I just think looking at how both teams have started this season in domestically and continentally, I think if he continues the same way, then I think you get points. But look, he's gonna probably get a win. Pardon?
With that Chelsea defense.
Oh no, this is what I said.
No. Again, no. But we do this. Chelsea still win games. The defense, most defenses are not. No, Basil,
we'll also concede goals though. You got to remember we'll score goals.
But bro, most defenses are not great in football. So I as much as I can criticize Chelsea's defense, there are a lot of teams I can talk about it. So I'm not saying like they'll go and get a clean sheet. You can talk about defenses. They'll concede a goal. That's fine. They concede 2 goals. I still think Chelsea will win.
Do you know? you know what I
Chelsea have
question?
goals in them. They can concede goals and still have goals in them. They can win the game. It's not impossible.
If it's the league, I'm more comfortable. I'm more confident with Chelsea. My biggest issue is because in the Champions League, teams are a lot more attacking,
It's a step up.
Yeah.
and that's the reason why. Because then they're going to trouble Chelsea a lot more. Teams in Europe are going to trouble Chelsea a lot more than Premier League teams, because teams in the Champions League are definitely a lot more attacking than the league teams. So the defense will be tested a lot more, which is why I don't know what that result is going to be. Chelsea could win it, but at the same time, I can also see Benfica winning because of
I,
that Chelsea defense.
I haven't said this impossible for Benfica to win. I'm saying I believe Chelsea will win the game. You can talk about defenses all you want. Again, this is the point.
Yeah,
If Benfica were very good defensively or
yeah,
just competent defensively, Karabakh will never come back and won 3-2 at their home ground.
but that's fair.
So
Yeah,
I can't look at them and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna give Chelsea problems because Chelsea gonna give them problems too.
yeah.
So I think Chelsea will win the game. But if they don't, hey man, they can hold that in it. That's Fio's issue.
Valid point.
Listen, we should get the 3 points. We should get the 3 points. But it'd be interesting to see Mourinho back at Stamford Bridge. You know, I'm sure he's got unfinished business there. You know, he likes to come back. One thing about Jose, he doesn't care. He's not sentimental. He doesn't care if he used to manage you. He wants 3 points. He's gonna thrash your team. He doesn't care, which I like about him. He has come out though, I think yesterday, and said he's in the older period of his career now, where he's a bit more calmer and a bit more not as hyped up as he used to be. We won't see him running down the touchline at Stamford Bridge if he gets the 3 points. But I'm looking forward to the game, 30th of September. It should be a really good game. Whilst we're on Chelsea, let's talk about Raheem Sterling, who posted earlier on Monday, week just gone, Instagram post of him at 8:20 at Cobham training.
Okay.
Cold.
the morning?
No, this is at night. Everyone's gone home. Even the canteen shut at this point.
Yeah, it was the evening. Yeah.
You put the cold emoji, the cold emoji, and something else, handshake emoji, and all the rest of it. But very cryptic, very cryptic. Now, obviously, the PFA have got involved. I think they were involved anyway before this point. I think it's all just come to light now. The PFA are now involved with Chelsea to ensure that not just Raheem Sterling, but Renato Vega, I'd imagine maybe Armando Broja, Axel Dizazi potentially in that bomb squad that is being dubbed, are actually getting the correct treatment at Chelsea. They're being given the facilities they need, the training regimes that they need, access to coaches and all the rest of it. It's a difficult conversation in some ways because I think I see both sides of this one. But do you think more needs to be done for players, and more so does Chelsea need to do more for Raheem Sterling and others to make sure that they do, one, secure the moves if they want to move, or somehow integrate them back into the squad, or not even to the squad, but definitely integrate them into the day-to-day training of the main group of players? I'll come to you first, Basil, for that one.
Yeah, no, I think it's outrageous, and I like to say it's not just Chelsea. I disagree with any club does that. I think players should still be able to have that integration with the players, with the other players on a day-to-day basis. Because I saw a tweet, and I was absolutely correct. Like, imagine you're at work and you go into the office every day, and you're in the same you're in the same office with your colleagues, and then one day, because your company want to get rid of it, they say, hey, you're going to work downstairs in the basement by yourself without the integration of us, because we're still social human beings. And me, it's like, it isn't a punishment because they've done anything wrong. Yes, okay, fair enough. They're not part of your squad moving forward, but I still think they should have access to the regular training like everybody else is getting, rather than being isolated. Because even from a training regime, the training they're receiving is different, and there's a great area about that. They should still have access to the same level of training as every other player, because contractually they should have the same rights as every other player in the team. Now, I'm not saying, okay, they have to then be involved in kind of your day-to-day setup for what you want to do for your match, but I think they should still have the ability to train with the rest of the players and still have the same level of training that everyone else is getting. Because I guarantee the training they're receiving separately on that evening is not the same as what everyone else is receiving. And I just think that that level of isolation for me is just completely wrong when it isn't punishment based on a personal level. I can see the other side of it in terms of, well, we're not part of my squad. I don't want them really involved in the days because I can't give the man as managers. I don't want to be able. I don't want to have to give them that level of time when I'm not going to have to be able to use them through the season. But as you can see, even with Chelsea, things change. Remember, who was it? Was it Shalabola that they sent out on loan last season and then record because of the injuries. Things can always change. What happens if, for instance, five of your wingers now get injured and they say, Raheem, we need you back into the team because of that. So that's why I still think they should still have the same level of training as everyone else and still be in the same environment as everyone else. It may not even be 100%, even if it's something like 70%. Only train bus for 70%, but we're doing like fitness work, certain drills. But then when it comes to certain drills involving match preparation, then you're kind of excluded. I can understand that. I still think they should have some level of participation in the same training everyone else gets.
It's fair points. It's fair points. I'm still sat on the fence. I'm still sat.
Why are you side of the fence? What's
Because
your,
I think if you see, I'm looking at it from both sides here. I'm thinking I'm club and player. If I'm a player and I want to play football, and I'm talking I want to play football every single Saturday, every opportunity I can get. I'm 30 years of age. I'm not young, so my career is going to come to an end in say 6 years from now, and I want to be playing every single Saturday. I would make sure that I'm at a club, even if it means I got to take a pay cut. And I know people are saying he doesn't have to take that pay cut. But I'm talking from, if you want to play football every Saturday, you want to be in and amongst a team that actually wants you to play every Saturday and every Sunday or whatever. I would. Jackson's done it. Jackson got told, I'm your third choice at the club. I know it's a different situation and all the rest of it, but he made sure he got on the phone to his agent. He said, you know what? These lot are taking the piss, basically. These lot are trying to use me for when they want me, and that's it. I'm going to get a move. I'm going to pay £3 million out of my own money, or his agent or whatever. I'm going to help get this loan fee done. Bayern, you pay 11, we'll pay 3. And he got the move. So there are ways, if you're not happy, you can go. And I think if you really want to play football week in, week out, there was offers on the table. Now, whether they were rubbish offers, whether the wages were not what he thought they were going to be or whatever, then unfortunately, and you're not in the manager's plans, then I'm sorry. That's where I'm a bit like, I can't really help you here. You can come into the main group, but you're not playing games. So what's the point you train with us? Why are you training with us to work on drills that we know on Saturday, 5:30, Man United, Old Trafford? You're not even going to be part of that squad. So I get it a little bit. Who's dropping out this drill to bring Sterling into the drill when we know that Sterling's not going to be part of the drill on the Saturday? I get it. I get it a little bit. So maybe my bias cap's on still. Maybe. I want to ask you, Coach, what do you think? What's your thoughts? Is it a case of Sterling? I mean, he's well within his rights to sit out for 2 years. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's well within his rights to sit out and wait to see how this unfolds. He could collect his money every week, which is right. He's contracted to do so. And he'll be 32. There's many clubs come 2 years from now that will want to sign him.
So in terms of that, I mean, it's similar to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago with Sancho about, does he just take a pay cut and go to another club because he obviously, he's younger.
What did you say at the time? Just so I remember.
I was saying that I think at his age, he should play a lot of football, and the fact there's a World Cup here in particular. Not that I know he's not really a first ballot these days, but ideally you want to be like, let me go and really impress somewhere. You know what I mean? I get that permanent move, because obviously now he's got a loan move, but he's also got a year extension, so he's got another 2 years technically. It's not really where he wants, not what all parties want. Now, my thing about the integration of training is this: if either player has been a disruptive influence on the squad, then they should be nowhere near the training with the team, because that's the last thing you need as a coach. I mean, that energy, that sort of talking to other players and almost getting the minds about certain things. And players can talk anywhere off the pitch as well, but whilst you're in training, you want the correct effort and energy from everybody else. Now, from the reason why I think the PFA have got involved, this is just my own analysis. No one said anything. I think when when Maresca came in. When Maresca came in, you guys signed some players. You guys were told straight away, regardless of whether they were newly signed or not, that you're not part of my plans. You're gonna sit on the side, and it was almost like a big, you know, big mess and noise was made about it because it was like, oh, why have you signed this guy and he's not part of the squad and this and the other and wherever they went to next. I think the PFA probably get involved in that sense to avoid that situation again. I think we get some points. But at the same time, I will say this.
We've lost your audio a little bit, Kojo.
Oh, can you hear me now?
No, I think it's your mic. It might be the mic, the piece. Like this bit.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you a little bit now.
Oh, yeah, there you go, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I will say is this, bro, and this is why I was talking about. I brought Sancho up earlier because this is where I think Chelsea will be like, come on now. They weren't told a week before the window ends. They weren't told a day before the weekend ends. This was very clear information from early, and I refuse to believe that either player has not had enough offers on the table to go somewhere and play their football. Whether it's a permanent, whether it's a temporary, you need to go somewhere and play your ball. We can talk about wages. We can talk about, I think he feels like he can break into the team again. Disasi and Sterling in particular foretold from early that they're not part of Chelsea's plans. That's the be-all and end-all. And if it is true, I believe it's true, definitely true, that they were wanted by some teams. I think sometimes as a player and sometimes as an agent, you got to talk to your player and say, you know what, take the temporary move, build up your profile, go and have a good loan, and then you can go somewhere else where you'll probably get a better move because you've improved throughout the year. I mean, that's what we have with Rashford at the moment. Rashford he's got a option with Barcelona, right? If he impresses Barcelona and Barcelona, like, well, we really want to keep it, but there's a phone and they can't afford it.
We've lost your audio a little bit again. Sorry.
Oh, what's going on? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna test out the headphones on. If Rashford it performs well, but Barcelona can't afford them because I mean they can't really afford anything these days. Then at least he's proven that he's still got the ability to play for another club, and he's already got in the squad already. That all helps. So I see both sides of it, but I think, me personally, I think it's not causing problems, and they still have some use to get back into training at least. It helps them for them when they go elsewhere and take on their loans. They're very ready and very to have some loans. And in the summer, see you later. I don't think you get any permanent moves in January. That's my
I've got a question. Right? But isn't there a level of hypocrisy here when we talk about? And obviously, I'm just talking about just in football in general, from like the pundits, because everyone talks about how Isak and Vissa behaved in terms of making that move, that the clubs trying to force them to stay and what they. But then it's like, but then you look at the flip side. It's like and people, and then everyone, and all of them is like there's a contract, and the only person who contract doesn't mean anything was Simon Jordan. Contract doesn't mean anything, to be honest, because when he leaves 2 years into his contract, what does that contract mean? It means nothing. But then the thing is, okay, cool. Now they have an obligation to still be at the club because they haven't moved out. But then obviously now these are the things that happen now where you stay at the club. Isn't there like a level of hypocrisy that needs to be called out? I mean, just by the media, pundits in general, and the fans, because hey, cool. Because my thing is that if you're going to stay at the club, you should still have the same rights you have when you were, when things were all normal at the club. But then it's like currently it doesn't seem they have that.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think there is a level of hypocrisy because I think I think there's not enough noise being made about the fact that players get treated the way they get treated. And I'm talking about not just Sterling, even Donnarumma with PSG, the way he got moved out of the club a little bit. I think that they made it evidently clear that you are not the guy for us, and he was under contract. But then the flip side of that is you sign a contract, and within there, without looking at a footballing contract that I haven't looked at for years, but there must be something in there that says if a right fee comes up, we have the opportunity to sell you for X amount. I don't know. There must be something in there that says that. So, and with Sterling as well, again, he signed a deal that was a very good deal. I mean, I don't think if he turned up to Chelsea now, I'm telling you from now, and this is the reason that they want to get rid of him. This is the reason why he's not training with the main group, is because they want the same thing they done with Ben Chilwell. who was on 250 or 220, I think, a week. It's the same thing they want to do with Sterling. He's on too much money for this club to meet PSR and all of that. This is why they want him gone, and they're doing anything necessary. And this is why they've done it with Trevor Chalobah, is because Trevor Chalobah would have brought in pure profit. So I agree with you. There's a level of hypocrisy because, when a player wants to go, it's, he's this, he's Judas, he's this person, that person. But when the club does it, it's almost like the player's still in the wrong for it a little bit. We focus more about the player as opposed to actually why is the club doing that?
The way is, I think the media hate the so player power so much that they want to almost ridiculously take it off the players, and I think player power has always been a thing of football, but I think it's also quite overstated. Isak's situation was very interesting because he made it clear to the club very quietly, very privately, that I want this to be my last year and I have ambitions to play for a bigger club that have higher ambitions. And he did it respectfully for them. He didn't go and make noise. He didn't go through his agent and say, I demand a permanent transfer and, all that hullabaloo. That was 12 months prior. He played another great season. He helped them win a trophy. He played his part. And all he asked for quite nicely was, let me go. And Newcastle dug their heels in, and Newcastle sort of almost treated him like a child a little bit. Because we can say, yes, contracts don't mean anything. So definitely gentleman agreement where you just shake hands doesn't mean anything either in football. But on the other side, you've got to say, well, if he's come respectfully and said, I need to leave next summer, and within that, knowing that he wants to go elsewhere next summer, he's still giving you another top year and help you break a duck that you've not broken for many years. You've got to give him what he wants sometimes.
No,
And
I
there's
don't
also-
agree with that. I don't.
No. Hear me out.
He's
I'm
got
not
a
finishing.
contract. He's got a contract.
No, hear me out. I'm not saying disregard the contract. What I'm saying is, at some point, what you got to think about also is how it benefits the club if you sell him. So the maximum profit I'm talking about side of things as well, because Chelsea on one side of things with Sterling, as well, actually the Sterling is like not going to be the same because Sterling's value's way down. So forget that. But I think Newcastle were in a weird situation where I feel like they just should have put themselves in a better position, and the way they played it was so poor that the money they potentially could have got was, even though it was still big, it was slightly less than what they should have got. So
Can I ask you
whilst
something?
was-
I'll let you finish. Sorry. So you're losing
no,
train of
go,
thought.
go, go.
I was going to say,
No, no,
if they didn't sell him or they didn't agree to sell him, he would have to turn up and play for Newcastle again.
Well, if they say exactly, so this is where it comes to the contract. If he doesn't, then they fine him for not coming to training and so on and so forth, right? So that's what I'm saying. So sometimes you got to assess it as a club also, because I understand where they don't want the player to run the situation, but as a club, sometimes you also got to assess it and take that power into your hands and say, well, if this club wants you and they know we're ready to let you go this summer, this is the price, this is what it's going to be, this is what it is. Not, nope, you're not going anywhere. We did not have any conversations. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. They played it poorly, very, very poorly. There was a lot of quite frankly dishonesty on their side of things.
But I think that's separate to Sterling. I hear what you're saying, but I think with Sterling's situation is he had offers on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he wanted to take them or not is a different question because we don't know his family setup, his financial setup. He could have investments here.
What was the fee that you guys wanted for him?
Oh, it wasn't much. I think it was 20 something million, if that. It was a fraction of what we paid.
Okay.
It's a fraction of what we paid. But then again, you got to remember, it doesn't matter what we want for him. Because when we say yes to 15 or 20 million, then you've got to speak, agents got to speak. My player wants 300 grand a week still. Where's am I going to go?
That's why I was asking the question, because did any clubs make those offers?
So, but they won't make the offer because they know they're not going to be able to agree personal terms with the player. So
That's a fair point. Okay.
it's like we can agree the fee with the club because we probably would have said actually transfer deadline day you can have it for 15 million. You've seen it on Football Manager. You panic. You just press the button on anything. But from when you get to the point where you know that you can agree that, and then all of a sudden it's discrepancies around actually I need a goal bonus. If I'm not getting 300 grand, I'll take 270, but I want an appearance fee of 30,000. It was pointless. And I'm not saying he should take those deals, because at the end of the day, a footballer's career is very short, and he's got kids. He's going to want to support his kids' kids. He's got probably other family members that he supports as well. We don't know his personal, what goes on in his personal life. So he might actually want to sustain a good financial security for his family, and he's well within his rights to do that. But then on the flip side for me is, and I'm talking obviously from a place of not being in that situation right now or at all, is I'd love to think I'd want to play football every Saturday and every Sunday and every Wednesday and every Tuesday if I could. I'd want to think that would be mean more to me than being in a situation where he's turning up at Cobham at 8 o'clock, the canteen shut, I can't even get a little chicken sandwich, a cup of tea.
He's on 300k a week, man. He can get that anywhere.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say. Is it that bad for him? He can bring his personal chef to Cobham. His personal chef can be there rustling up something while he's kicking the football for an hour. So I don't know. I think I get it on both sides. I think it's very bad from Chelsea Football Club, the way that they treat players. They Chilwell, Chalobah, Sterling. It's very, very bad, very poor, distasteful. You know, there's ways that you can do this rather than just banning people from the changing rooms and all the rest of it. But on the flip side as well, the offers are there. And if you're serious about your football, you want to go out as a player that, you know, played at the highest level as long as possible, take one of the deals. Because
what I'll say this, funny, what we've seen with modern day footballers, and it's not their fault, I guess it's more just football because there's so much money. A lot of them are not willing to compromise what they're earning to play football. Whereas I think I would say more back in the 90s, early 2000s, you would have a lot of people who would sacrifice a bit just to get more playing time. I think now, because there's just so much money these players are earning, they're just like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I think that's why clubs are trying to. I didn't agree with what Newcastle did, but I think that's why they're trying to wrestle back control, because they don't want to be like the player runs the situation. Yeah. So that's why I think in some ways you can almost grab the situation in your hands by thinking that just taking control from early. But
yes, and I think on the clubs, and here's the thing, this is why I said, listen, the clubs only have themselves to blame. And Lewandowski did a quote this week talking about, you know, nowadays, before when people were talking about 70, 80, 90 million for a player, you had to prove your worth. Where we say like now, a player will score less than 10 goals. He's going for that, and he's going for that value. Now, long for that value is the wages. So clubs are paying players wages who don't have the proven backing to back those wages. So we are taking a risk. So when it doesn't work out, this is what happens. Players are not foolish enough to say, I'm going to part my ways or part with this salary because you want me out, because they've proven not good enough or proven not the worth that the club want them. But the clubs only have themselves to blame for not doing their due diligence and paying players according to what they are truly worth.
It's interesting.
Happens at the same time. Can you really cry for some of these clubs when it was these clubs that offered some of these players these wages, when really and truly the evidence was there? Really and truly, they're not worth the amount that you're offering them.
Exactly. We'll have to see how that unfolds, because I'm sure it's not going to be done anytime soon. I don't think he gets a move in January, but we'll have to see. Let's see how that pans out with Raheem Sterling and the bomb squad at Chelsea. Man United, Ruben Amorim. What's the chant you lot sing now about Ruben Amorim, man? It's funny.
What's up?
I'm not. Amorim, that's the chant. That'll be 6 p.m. Saturday.
I don't know what it is, but I assume it has those words in it.
Let's see.
For those that don't know, Manchester United versus Chelsea, 5 p.m. Saturday evening. This is a game actually that Chelsea do not do well in. We have not won here since 2013. One matter, 1-0 goal. Yeah, it's been a while. I think it was 1-1 last game at Old Trafford. I think Caicedo grabbed a late equaliser.
Yep.
What's your thoughts though, Kojo? Because this is, I mean, look, United, a lot of people putting pressure on the manager, putting pressure on certain players, probably rightfully so in some aspects of that. But this is a fixture that can go either way. And I say that because Chelsea are very inconsistent in terms of their performances and their form. And United always seem to turn up against Chelsea, whether that's at Old Trafford or Stamford Bridge. It always is an entertaining game. What's your thoughts going into this one with Mbumo. Is he back now, Mbumo? I think is he
I think
possible?
so.
And
I think
Cunha.
so.
Is it Cunha that was out?
Yeah, it's
Cunha's
Cunha.
out. Cunha's
Cunha's
out.
Cunha's out. All right.
Cunha's
It
So
out.
was,
But
it was,
he's not
it
back
was
anytime
Cunha.
soon.
I don't know if he's back. But
He's
it's,
not.
it's
He's not back anytime soon. He's not back anytime soon. I'll be
okay.
surprised if it's on the weekend. I'll be very surprised.
Okay. So what's your thoughts?
Um, this is literally going to be who wants to play football today and who doesn't. That's what it's going to be, man. So if you man turn up and you want a ball out, then you probably will get the win. If you don't, and then suddenly, and I say suddenly, it'll probably be a Bruno Fernandes penalty and some sort of corner that bundles around and it goes in. That's how we work. That's how we can get a win. But this might also be a game of very low quality because we've had a couple of those in the past where it's just been drab at Old Trafford.
The nils,
Yeah, no nils. Even the 1-1s have been a
one
bit.
ones.
Yeah, so I honestly I've been very bad calling Chelsea United games in the past because I never get it right. Um, I don't know who's gonna turn up. I I genuinely don't know who's gonna turn up. Um, I hope we win. Thing is, I'm not obviously other than Grimsby, I'm not like overly upset with the start of the season because obviously if you look at his overall time at Marin's been here, it's been horrendous. But this season so far, we've got 4 points out of 12, which is not good. But Arsenal and City being two of those games, knowing the position that we're trying to improve on, I'm not incredibly upset about it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not like, oh my god, what a disaster. But I obviously want to win this game because we need to start getting some wins on the board again. So it'll be nice to bounce back from that loss to City for a
the
win.
question,
So we'll see.
the question, Kojo.
Mm.
What's your thoughts then if United lose the game? Because obviously you kind of said like, okay, no overall bad. The start has been great, but then if you now walk into the season with 3 defeats in 5 games,
Mm. Mm.
what's your mood after that?
I'm genuinely. I know when I say this, people don't believe me. I'm still calm. Thing is, yeah, it's not even about trying to use the excuse of, oh yeah, Arsenal, City, Chelsea. Like you have to go up against these teams. You have to play them. You have to try and get a win against them. It's football. But I'm not in a position where I'm overly crying about it. Like
Mm.
Even
we
if it
still
was
got a
like
lot of
even if
wins
it
to
was like
go.
a 4-0 defeat and it was like a
Oh
proper
yeah,
hammering, and
if
you're
it's a hammering, I'm here next week shouting my head off.
oh
But
no, I just want to double check because
yeah,
if we score like 3 goals and it's a cricket score, it's one sided. I want to see because I think United fans and maybe the board are losing a bit of patience with Zamarin now. I think he said a lot of things that I'm surprised at for a manager that hasn't even been in the job for 12 months.
he very weirdly speaks way too emotionally. He's kind of a bit of an emotional wreck, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like it when Pep does it and Pep's successful. So, it's I don't like that stuff. But look, again, I'm not gonna I'm not rather an overreactionary. The reason why I lost my patience with what's his name, Ten Hag, is because at some point it looked like he was just trying to personally piss me off. Forget about the fans, just me. He was
But
personally
isn't
pissing
Amrin
me off.
doing the same thing? I feel like Amrin's. This is what I mean. I think they're
I think
carbon
I
copy.
think
They're literally
I
the
think
same
I think
person.
I think Amarim and I think the board have a part to play in this. I think that there's a play your football, weed out the bad eggs type of situation going on because the from what I've read from United based media is when United lost obviously 3-0 to City, they spoke about the fact that Dogu, Mbumo, and Sesko were the only three players that he got in that whole starting 11, and the players that made the mistakes were players that he didn't sign, namely one particular person in
But
defence that played
he's
at
still
centre back.
picking the squad though,
No,
Kojo.
no, no, no. Exactly. This is the point I'm making. I
Okay.
said this is what the media, Manchester
Okay.
media
Okay.
said, not me. This is what Manchester media said.
Get
But
these
you still have to pick the
excuses out
11.
from now. Get them out from now,
It's not
please.
excuses, bro. I'm telling you what's saying. I'm telling you what's
I mean,
being said. Tell you what's being said. So someone like someone. So I personally was like, when the starting out came up, I was like, why are you starting Shaw? I want to start Heaven because Shaw's let you down from the first time he came back into the team. He scored 2 own goals in 3 games, and then and then he's been poor ever since. So I don't think he should have started him. I think he started Ugarte because Casemiro came back very tired from international break. I still personally wouldn't have started Ugarte regardless, but you've done that. So those are the things that are hurting him. But look, again, I'm not gonna sit here and cry over past results. This happened. I can't talk about that enough. We need to go into Chelsea now and hopefully win the game, and then from there try and get a run of wins on the bounce because after we got 2 more games and we're going to Anfield. And I'm going to tell you straight, we ain't winning shit at Anfield. So, you know,
Can I say
they,
I don't think he gets that. I don't think he leads the team out at Anfield.
if that's what it is, so be it. But right now he's still here, so we got to think about Chelsea right now. That's what matters. So if whilst he's here, he needs to get the win and
You
fast.
got
That's the reality.
you got Chelsea tomorrow, Brentford the following Saturday, and then before the international break again, 4th of October, you've got Sunderland at home. So I think
Okay.
he's got 3 games to save his job, and I think if he doesn't, I think Michael Carrick's packing his bags, and I think Michael Carrick is going to be sat in the dugout for Anfield for Liverpool.
Michael Carrick, man, gosh.
I'm doing the media thing like you. That's what the media's saying. That's what the media's saying.
Yeah. I saw that. I won't even talk about that. But no, I think he has to get for if I would say so. If he goes into that or comes out of that with anything less than 6 points, I think he's a goner.
6 points.
Yeah. So if he loses against Chelsea, if he loses against Chelsea, he has to win the next 2. That's a fact. He has to. No,
I'd want 9.
I said if I listen to what I said. Listen to what I said. I said if he doesn't come out of it, then the board will say, "Oh, I didn't say board, but that's what's going to happen. 6 points is the minimum." That's what I'm saying. I want 9, bro. I want how many points is left from now to the end of the season? 90 something. I want all 90, but it ain't going to happen. So there you go. But he better win against Chelsea on the weekend. So 5:30 game on.
What do you think, Basil, that Chelsea need to do? Because Chelsea are very mixed in terms of their performances. You know, one week they look okay, and then you got to see against Brentford and Bayern Munich in a week in the Champions League. They just didn't. They looked very inexperienced, and I think maybe 3 out of the squad had actually played in that competition before. It was relatively new for the manager, but he's got to learn. I think Maresca, he can't play the same way against every single team, and we were going to be playing up against the back 5 essentially with the obviously 2 wing backs. What do you think Chelsea need to do in order to secure 3 points? How does Maresca get the best out of this Chelsea squad?
I don't know. I don't think Maresca is the man. And let me first break down a few myths that people had about Chelsea last, because everyone went, and obviously the media and the pundits went on like Chelsea had a great season last season, and they didn't. And this is me judging it by the standard of a big club, right? Now let me break it down. They were terrible in the league. Only just scraped. Was it 4th that you guys scraped? Only just scraped. Overall, by your standard, it wasn't a good season in the league. You crashed out of the cups very early. You won. People tried to praise your Conference League victory. Now, I'm not saying a trophy's a trophy, but look at the opposition. But look at the opposition you guys played. But people tried to make that like, oh, it was a fantastic season because they won a Conference League. No, any mid-table Premier League team would have probably won that competition, playing the opposition that Chelsea played, because it was very, very low standard. I mean, okay, you did all right in the Club World Cup Championship, but the only thing I praise Chelsea of is just a one-off final. But in a one-off final, anybody can beat anybody. But what people do is they combine those two and say Chelsea had a fantastic season last season. I was like, no, if you're going to judge that, judge everything. So I think Chelsea had a very mediocre season last season, and won, apart from maybe the Club World Cup Championship, but won what I expected them to win in terms of the Conference League. So what that has done is that's carried on to this season, where people thought Chelsea are this, and they're this team that should do well because of that. And I said no, because really, literally, last season wasn't really the basis for a team to really build upon. There was a lot of lessons to learn, but it wasn't like the foundations, oh, we've done well this season, we can carry on. So when I've seen Chelsea at the start of this season, I'm like, why is anybody surprised, considering how they performed last season? What Chelsea need to do to perform, Maresca, you need to tighten up with the defence. And I sit there and I ask myself, what does Maresca do with that defence on the training ground? Because that defence has not improved even till now. Even you guys signed Hato. Is it Hato, his name?
Yeah.
I thought he was coming into play as one of your centre backs. I don't think
he plays, but he played predominantly left back for Ajax.
Which is very, because I thought you needed a centre back more than you needed a left back. So you haven't really resolved your centre back issues, which is still a gaping issue when you look at the goals you have conceded this season. very, very poor defending from your centre backs this season. So I sit there as like, unless he's going to work with your defenders and improve the team defensively and how you kind of operate when you don't have the ball, I can't see Chelsea improving from last season. And it just tells me Maresca, for me personally, is not the man to lead Chelsea. You can do all your attacking plays, great, but unless you sort out the base of your defense, it's going to be the same. So for me, I think what Maresca needs to do is work with that defense throughout now and the rest of the season. Because unless you're tight defensively, you're not going to do well this season. Attacking, you've got good players who can win you games, but you're losing games because defensively you're not solid. And that's when Maresca needs to take a hard long look at himself and say, what am I doing with this defense?
Yeah, it's a fair comment. It's a fair comment. I think from last season, I think we've definitely shown. I think last season the objectives, whether that's from a club, like from the actual club itself, and from a fan's perspective, was to get top four. However, we got there. It wasn't the best route, but we got there, and to win a trophy. Now, I think domestically, you'd want to win a domestic trophy. That's the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. We crashed out early to those, like you said. I think Brighton. The Conference League, I think, was a given. I think we were tipped favourites from the very start to win that. So again, you expect us to win that. Although it wasn't plain sailing, there were some games that were just mad. We should have just won them a lot better. Yeah. And the Club World Cup. So I think I wouldn't say it was an amazing season, but I wouldn't.
It's a decent season, but and I would give them praise for what they've done in terms of their achievement. But I think what people do is that I think they took it a bit overboard.
I agree. But I think that's the media as well. I think the media, and not all media, but some media have hyped it up and said, oh, Chelsea, the Club World Champions now, so they're going to go on and do X, Y, and Z. I still think we should be definitely confidently trying to get into that conversation of challenging for the league. I'm not saying we can win it. I'm not saying we're winning it at all. But I think from what I've seen over the last 12 months, Villa were up there last season, and Forest have been in amongst it. And I'm not saying that they were going to ever win the league, but you have to be in that conversation to even think about trying to challenge. Yeah. We should be in there. I don't think we're going to win it. I don't think we can even put ourselves in the 1 or the 2. But I think I want to see an attempt. And that could be a small attempt. That could be just actually you finish 3rd or you finish 4th, but you were trying. Like last season. If you remember last season, we were like 1st and 2nd, and then we just pole vaulted off the cliff. Like we just went off the cliff. It was mental. So I think we have moments in games where we can kill. Our thing is we don't kill games. And we can score the first goal. We might be able to make it 2-1. But some teams where they take it to 3-1, and then in the 90th minute they grab a 4th just to make you know that actually you're going home without these 3 points. We can't do that, and we always let teams come in. Brentford last Saturday, we switch off. We allowed Carvalho at the back post to
go on outside.
Even if it was, I don't think it was. There was a lot of back and forth I've seen online, but you know what? Even if it wasn't, we should be doing better defensively.
Fair.
Like it shouldn't even be going in the back of the net.
Is there any circumstance you see that you should not win this game?
I think my worry is that the players that's I was going to say Mourinho. What's his name? Amarin's brought in. Sorry, will click on Saturday. I think they will click. I think we will see. I'm pulling that same face as well in my head, Basil, as I'm saying it. But I think Seshko will get chances. I think he's a physical player. I think we struggle against physical players in offset pieces. So I think there could be a weakness in our defence. I think Maresca has, for me, I'm sick of seeing this 4-2-3-1. I think we need to. It's like it's so one-dimensional. I said last night, or someone, Company's homework was done before the game. All you had to do is watch the PSG game, the Club World Cup final. It was exactly the same game we tried to play. You, as a manager, surely in the Premier League, you have to be adaptable, change, and change the squad to suit the team you're playing against. Not every team sets up the same way that you're coming up against. So we're playing up against a back 5, so it's going to be a totally different game to the Bayern Munich game. Just change things subtly, little subtle changes.
Yeah, and I think you raise a good point. And I think that's where both managers are failing. Because
exactly.
I'm not Arteta's biggest fan. Everyone knows that. But I'll give him. Yeah. But I'll give you this. In certain games, he will make certain tweaks.
Yes.
Whether it's small tweaks, I mean, he will always approach the game more or less the same, but he will make small tweaks again where it's like, okay, if I need to be a bit more solid, here's a tweak. If I need to control the game a bit more, I'll make this tweak. If I want the team to be a bit more attacking, here's the small tweak. And you can see it on the pitch. And I think that's the issue I have with Amarin and Maresca, as we said. There's no tweaks. It's the same approach every game. And then when they get exposed in games, they're kind of surprised as to, oh, why does this happen?
There's no plan B.
There's no plan B. There's no plan B. And I think that's an issue for both managers, which does make this match fascinating because on a personal, I'm leaning towards a Chelsea win, but I personally don't know how this game is going to go. It could go either way.
Basil's got the hate watch ready. I can see. Look,
It's a perfect hate watch because I don't care for which team wins. So
it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Win-win for him.
Whoever loses, I'm going to get onto either one of you.
This guy said losers. This guy said losers. Even if they draw, he's gonna be like, this game was terrible.
Exactly. It's a win-win-win. There's no losers in this apart from me and you, Kojo. There's no losers. Before we wrap up very quickly, I want to talk about Arsenal. Noni Madueke, who has started his Arsenal career, I think, in the greatest way he could. I think he's still got a lot to learn. But I'm thinking back to the Liverpool game, the game in midweek, Athletic Club, again, Tuesday, I think it was, wasn't it? Tuesday evening. Basil, what do you think about Madueke so far? I know he was split amongst the fan base when you signed him. There was a lot of, obviously, the Chelsea connection, but he seems to have settled in very well.
I will agree. He's settled in very well.
But
he's settled in very well. He's done okay.
See how I led him up with that question.
Because for me, I look at it and I say this. He's doing what I expect any basic winger to do. He's taking the ball and taking it. No, but it's true. It's like, Coach, when you tell me you want a winger, what do you want a winger to do? Give me the.
Hey, I'm not here to defend him, bro. I'm just saying.
That's my thing. It's like we're praising him for doing the basics of what everyone wants from a winger, which is take the ball and run at your man, which is what he's doing. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's settled well into the team. I give him praise for that. But I'm not giving him praise for doing what I expect any decent winger to actually do, which is take the ball and run at man. What I look at is what's the end product like. And it's still the same as what it was at Chelsea in terms of he will run down the byline and then it's like slow down and decide what you want to do with the ball.
Or he runs out of space. And
that's where it falls down. And people are praising him for getting corners. I'm like, if the defender is constantly blocking your crosses and blocking the things you want to do, then for me there's an issue. Because then it's like when you get to that position, how have you allowed that to happen?
Couldn't you say that might be a tactic since you guys lost set pieces so much? I'm just pointing out there.
It could be a tactic where the manager's happy with that. But I'm seeing our fan base praise him because he's getting there and again. I can't praise a winger for going down there and every time there's a block for a corner and every time the defender is getting there and you're praising him for getting there. For me, it's tragic. I look at Bayern and Chelsea. Look at what Elise did with the ball, and then look. Noni Madueke is down the ball at Arsenal. Night and day. You have a man who's utilising the ball very well. He knows what he wants. He isn't just running in front. He stops, he pauses. If the crosses are on, I turn back. If the player's making a move, I make the pass. Just look at the highlights of Elise and then look at Noni Madueke. Elise is night and day. You have one guy who has end product and who knows what he wants with the ball. And then you have another guy who's kind of running a bit like a headless chicken without knowing what he wants to do at the end of it. At the moment, I give what he's done at the moment a 6 out of 10. That's because there's scope for improvement. I'm not going to say he's been rubbish at Arsenal. I think he's settled well, as Theo said. But there's room for improvement. And I'll say this. If this continues, if he continues like this throughout the whole season, it's not going to make a difference in the games that we need to make a difference. Because what we won at Arsenal was end product. What was left on the last 2 seasons is, do we have someone who can come off the bench and get the assist and get the goals, which is what we lacked. We have someone is when it's 0-0 can help us and everything, but it's about in those 5 moments when we're chasing the game, we have different makers in our bench. And my answer to that is no, we don't. We have different makers in terms of players we can rotate in games. So if you change throughout the season. We have that, but I don't think we have difference makers. And I'll end on this point because I heard Martin Kieran and Henri saying, "Oh, we have the best depth of squad or one of the best squads in Europe to go win things." I said, "No, we don't." I said, "What we do is we have a squad where we can change the squad for games. We don't have players like a Liverpool have who can come off the bench and make a difference.
It's not like for like.
Yeah, like that. Liverpool can bring on Chaser, he can score. And Gumo, very early on, coming against Newcastle, they can bring on if Isak or Iketike isn't starting, they can bring on those players, and we know they have the caliber to go on and change the game and score the winner. We don't have that Arsenal. If we're chasing a game, well, we're going to bring on Norgard. We're going to bring on Madueke. I mean, Martinelli's goal wasn't a good goal; it was a goalkeeping error because he shot straight at the goalkeeper. We're going to bring on Martinelli.
He did well, though. He did. Come on, give him a little bit of
No.
credit. He did well, man.
He did well to get there, but it's a goalkeeping error. Let's be brutally honest. And
Got an assist as well. He got an assist.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this: we've had Martinelli and Trossard come off the bench the last 2 years and not impact games. I'm like, well, are these guys a place to come on if we're chasing a game to impact games and get us a winner or draw us back? No. We have a good squad for rotation, but we don't have a good squad for impact off the bench for rotation. And I'm going to end there.
It's a nice way to end up the podcast. I like it. Before we literally do wrap up, this is literally the last question I got is Arsenal, Man City, who wins?
I think draw.
Okay. Go, Joe, what are you saying?
Arsenal 1-0.
I think so. I think Arsenal get the win. Arsenal get the win. It was 4-0 last time or 4-1 last time at the Emirates.
Yeah, Arsenal scored them last time, yeah.
Yeah, turned them over. So, but we'll see. That's on Sunday. So make sure.
Emirates.
So the Emirates. Yeah, the Emirates.
I'll change my mind. Arsenal.
See that? You see what I mean? Come on. I love it, man. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Thank you very much for listening. If you're listening, in fact, if you're listening on Spotify, you can now watch the podcast. You don't even need to listen, just you can watch it on Spotify as well. So make sure you hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Make sure, as I said, Kojo, Basil are now in charge of the socials, so make sure you get onto them. If they're not showing parts of the pod that you want to see, message them, let them know. Until next week, we'll be back. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week.